And we're back. Here is our chick. We're all dry. We're all closed up. We are leaving the hatcher and we are going to the brooder. Every chick gets a nice little leg band. Right now their feet are so tiny that if I put it down here, it would slip off. So it's going to stay up here above the hawk for a week or so, and then I'll move it down here. And then as I progress through the different sizes of bands, they'll all stay there, and it'll be consistent. Every chick will have it on the exact same leg. With these, they're corky, so they all need to be the same. If one bird has it on this leg, and the other one has it on the other, they're going to pick at it. Or if this bird has it, and the other bird doesn't have it, they're going to pick at it. So every bird needs to be the same. I don't know why, it's just how they are. So before they go into the brooder, they get taped. I want to keep their legs even with their body. This is the best way to prevent splayed leg. You know, you spent money on your egg, you spent money on your pairs to get your eggs, you spent 50 days of your time hatching this egg out. Like, you want to do everything you can. Like, this isn't something to do when you have splayed leg. This is something you do immediately to prevent splayed leg. So the best thing to use is a painter's tape. Don't use the blue stuff. Green frog painter's tape is the best stuff. I'll just show you how I do it. You gotta get a good length. Start with one leg. I'm coming in from the top. I don't want this sticky side to be touching the belly and having the feathers stick. So, coming from the top, I get it around one leg, wrap it under, and I'm just trying to stick it as evenly as possible so the tape's tape on tape and nothing is, you know, catching its soft little feathers there. And then we're going to be, you know, about 4 inches wide. We want it the width of his body. And again, we're wrapping it, trying to keep it all even. So now when it sits there, its legs stay in position. You know, they're awkward with their legs. You don't want one leg sitting off to the side, you know, you're asking for trouble. So they'll stay like this for basically 7 days. Like, all you're gonna have to do is take the tape off, okay? It does more than just prevent splayed leg, it builds strength. So they have to work a little bit harder, and this is going to get the legs really strong. And within 7 days, they'll bust out of this tape all on their own, and you'll just have it stuck and you'll just pick them up and just kind of peel it off. But they're so fragile right away. You know, even if you don't have any trip hazards in your brooder, if you have other birds, I mean, one will be sitting there with its leg to the side, another one will sit down, and this one will decide it's gonna jump up and run, and it's just gonna get pulled to the side, you know, by no fault of its own. It just, they have no real balance at this point. I mean, their legs kind of go everywhere. But when you have it like this, their legs are locked right underneath their body. It's not going to get pulled, and they're going to be building strength. Here we go again. I'll show you one more time. You're okay. You're okay. We don't want the sticky side touching the belly. So put it on from over the top. Wrap it around. Get it so it's roughly 4 inches apart. Put it around. I got a little cross with it, so I don't want that sticky part getting them, so I'm just gonna fold it back over onto the tape. Same right here. And now there's nothing sticky to stick to the bird. And he gets to go to the brooder. And over in the corner, I have my brooder. So we will take a little look. Size. You just hatched a chick out. Time to get them in the brooder, right? Size is important, okay? You got to think about this well ahead of time. There's a lot of things I'm going to get into in some upcoming videos. You got to prepare, you know, your brooder, your food, all this stuff. When you hatch a chick, that is not the time to get on Facebook groups and start asking people, what do I do? You know, you need to know well ahead of time, okay? So, a little tiny fish tank aquarium is not a brooder. Do not put chicks in there. Little tiny Tupperware containers are not brooders. Do not put chicks in there. You know, little tiny baby thing over there. I mean, it might work for a couple days, but just don't do it. Like, be prepared. So when it comes to brooders, you know, grow out pens, you know, your adult pens where they're going to be living, whatever the case is, length is always more important than width. I'm not saying you don't want a wide area, but you need long runs. They need to be able to go distances to build up leg strength, and that's right out the gate as soon as they're hatched, okay? So these are two of my brooders, and they are, geez, I believe they're 28 inches by 8 feet. So length more important than width. They have 8-foot run right out the gate to be building up their leg strength. Okay. And these are the two that just got their legs taped up. And as you can see, no pine, no bedding in here yet. I do not. Pine shavings, use pine. Okay, cedar is toxic to emu. So always pine. But these guys will not have shavings in there for, you know, roughly 5 to 7 days. Mainly because, I mean, they're curious. They're going to peck at everything. And for the most part, when they have something in their mouth, they're going to swallow it. So I don't want them eating that. I don't want them getting impacted. Again, I spent, you know, it's not cheap. I spent money, I've spent a lot of time, you know, to get to where we got these guys running around. So we don't want them eating something and getting impacted and dying in their first week or first 2 weeks. And when they first come out, they're not making a whole lot of mess anyway. I mean, for the first couple days, they might not, you know, do anything at all. And when they do, it's not bad. Like, you can spot clean if there's a bad one, you know. So none of the pine shavings for at least 5 days. I just put them in here. They will have water within the next 20 minutes, okay? But no food. So they just hatched, they just absorbed their yolk sac. Now they can feed off of that for 3 days. And that's what we want them to do. Like, we're humans, we want to intervene, we want to help, we want to do what we think is best. And people are like, oh my God, we got these out, we gotta, you know, we gotta feed them, we gotta water them, they need this immediately. No, they absorbed that yolk sac, okay? They're perfectly fine for the next few days. What we don't want is having them eat something and having them rush that process of having that yolk sac that they absorbed, all that nutrition, you know, get pushed through their body too quick. We want them to take their time absorbing that, because no matter how great we think we are, we cannot provide better nutrition than what is in that yolk sac for them. Like, they got everything they need except for water. So we'll get them some water, no food for 3 days. On the 3rd day, they're gonna get food, and they might not take to it right away. I mean, it's just, you see all kinds of videos on Facebook of people that, oh my God, my chick's just kind of laying here and it's not eating, it's not drinking, it's not really doing anything. You know, they were just cooped up. It's not a tiny egg, but they're just cooped up in their little egg, you know, for 50 days. And it takes some time for them to, you know, get their balance, get on their feet, you know, get their neck straightened out, you know, get used to being in this world. Like, it doesn't just happen instantly. Like, they're not just gonna hatch and be running around eating and drinking. You know, they're not like these little chickens and turkeys that you just can't seem to do anything wrong with them. So, no food for 3 days, but water will be in here immediately, and I will show you that too. I have a fairly deep dish for them, and I use fishing bobbers just to kind of catch their eye, something for them to see moving, something for them to poke at, and, you know, it gets them to see that water and discover it really quick. Right away, heat light, okay, your heat lamp. This should be prepared well ahead of time. So I would put a little thermometer down there so I know what the temperature is right there, okay? I have mine at 95 degrees. So right away, I know that when I come in, put these guys in here, they have 95-degree area. But we got a wide enough brooder and a long enough one so they can move anywhere they want to this side or to that side, and they can kind of choose where they want to be at to get the right temperature. That's why it's important. I saw a video of a lady who put a brand new chick in a little tiny fish tank the size of the top one and put a heat lamp directly on top of it, and there was nowhere for the bird to move to or to escape to get to a cooler temperature. And the video was basically of a panting chick, all frightened, being cooked to death because they didn't measure the temperature. They put this directly on top of the aquarium, and it was probably 130 degrees inside that little tiny aquarium, and the poor chick was just being cooked to death. Like, do some research and like plan ahead of time, okay? And this right here is one of the most important things. So, light. Unfortunately, you know, I can't be outside. So I'm in North Dakota. It's still cold here, and these guys are going to be inside for a while. So sunlight is extremely important. And since they can't get sunlight, this is the next best thing, okay? Grow lights. These are full spectrum grow lights. And they're not even that, so mine are the 4-footers, and on Amazon I got 6 of them for $100. You got to provide light for them. They need that to, you know, process their food, to, you know, get healthy. So, long brooder, heat set perfectly for them, room for them to move in and out of the heat, full spectrum grow light, water dish coming soon. These guys are the graduates from the last set, and they will be moving out of here later today to their longer run and be making way for even more chicks to come. But this is it. This is how they're going to be for the next few days. I mean, it's perfectly normal. They're going to lay, they're going to rest. You know, they're going to slowly be building up that leg strength. I mean, this is how it's supposed to be. Don't expect your chick to hatch and, you know, be up and running around like this. Not going to happen. This right here is perfectly normal. You'll see a change in them in, you know, 3 to 4 days. Let's get another one, huh? One more leg tape, just to show you guys how it's done. One more time. Say hi. Say hi. Okay. So, once again, green frog painter's tape. The only thing to use. Roughly about a 10-inch strip. And again, sticky side down. So, around the leg, onto the tape, 4 inches wide, Trying to keep it all straight and even. And if you get it so it's off even, just kind of fold it over so none of that stickiness is getting the baby's belly. And now this one is ready for the brooder. So again, when we're doing this taping, it's even with the body. We want to keep these legs underneath the chick. We don't want the legs floating around, going off to the side, you know, risking having it be partially cocked one way and getting up and going and getting the splayed leg. So even with its body. And let's just go straight to the brooder and get it in. Here we go. And there are the two from earlier. And this one will now join. And as you see, we now have the water in there, so no food for 3 days for freshly hatched chicks. They gotta absorb that yolk sac, but they get the water. And don't bring them over here and stick their beaks in here and, you know, try to show them the water or force the water upon them. They'll find it and they'll drink it when they need it. I mean, they're just going to be hanging out, not doing much. And again, that's perfectly normal. Don't expect them to be, you know, drinking and running around and, you know, acting like bigger birds, or the little chickens and turkeys that just hatch and run and eat and drink and do everything right away off the bat. It's not the case with these guys, okay? So, no food for 3 days, but water. And I use fishing bobbers and just some little kids' bath toys, just something in there to catch their eye. And they're curious. So when they're ready, they're gonna come over here, they're gonna poke at this, they're gonna be, oh, we found some water, and they're gonna start drinking. So eye catchers, something for them to play with. They'll find it and they'll be just fine. But look at that. Look how those legs are sitting even with the body, perfectly underneath it. And if they want to stand up like that one did, they can stand up and move just fine. And every time they do that, they're just going to keep building leg strength, and they're not going to have any injury because of it. You know, touching on one part of the brooder again, all the examples of not brooders, right? Fish tanks, storage totes, baby cages. Here's the problem, okay? Those are all way too small. There's nowhere for them to move in and out of the heat as needed. There's no length to them for them to run and build up their leg strength and become healthy. 2, so completely enclosed sides, okay? There's no air flowing through the sides, which, what does that do? That gives them constant temperature, okay? This temperature is staying the same, and wherever they find it comfortable, the temperature's gonna stay the same, and they're just gonna be able to sit there and be comfortable. There is No drafts. They have a constant temperature. If you put it in something like this, that's going to be drafty. You're not going to have a constant temperature. Your little chicks are not going to be happy. If you put them in some kind of a, this kind of a fence material type situation or chicken wire, you're going to have drafts. So the first couple weeks, you don't want drafts. You want them in a draft-free environment, providing them with heat, with light, with water off the bat, and food added at day 3. And you will have a whole bunch of healthy chicks, and you will not have to go onto the emu Facebook group and cry about why your bird isn't healthy and why your bird has a leg issue and why you just spent money and time and you have problems. Be prepared, do it the right way, don't have problems. One more thing, the feather dusters, basically just a comfort. Okay, that's not touching the ground. I mean, that is hovering, close to 5 inches off. So they can just kind of crawl underneath there. It kind of, resembles, their mom or their dad in the most case, because dads are the ones that sit on the eggs and raise these chicks up. But anyway, it's just a comfort thing. Once I get too many chicks in here, the main side with the heat, that'll get pulled. I mean, it's a comfort for a few chicks. But once there's too many, that goes. The one on the opposite side, that'll pretty much stay there for a good week, because that's going to encourage these guys to move out of this heat over here and go over there and see what that is, because we want to encourage them to use the length of their brooder to develop that length strength.